This is my 4th birthday talk. But I wanted to revisit my 3rd birthday talk just a little bit because it seems so momentous at the time. Um, I had originally planned for the 3rd birthday talk to be very lighthearted, and by mid-May, we had learned of the deaths of Breonna Taylor and Maud Aubrey, and then May 26th was the murder of George Floyd. And so whatever lightheartedness that I had planned for that talk went flying out the window. And I ended up talking about feeling vulnerable and realizing that at any moment I could die if the pandemic didn't get me. And there's all the other things that happen in life that could. And we didn't have a vaccine the way we do now. The majority of the Sangha, I think, is now vaccinated, which is a wonderful thing. But back then, there was just so much uncertainty. And incidentally, there still is lots of uncertainty. It's just that having a vaccine makes us feel a little bit safer. So this month's bucket is the Samadhi Bucket, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And I wanted to just take a little bit of a visit back in time to when the Buddha was teaching us about samadhi, because all the Western teachers who brought us these teachings, sometimes they edited some of the things out. And so I found a Dharma talk, or it was actually a series of teachings, I think, by Richard Shankman, the Sati-centered day-long class. And his was Samadhi, exploring the range of teachings and different views on concentration and jhana. And it's 15 pages long. But there was one part of it that really struck me. And I'm scrolling to find it because I didn't write it down. So here it is. Developing Samadhi. 40 meditation subjects are given. 10 kasinas: earth, water, fire, air, the 4 colors: blue, yellow, red, white, light, and limited space. 10 kinds of body decay, also called 10 kinds of foulness: bloated corpse, livid corpse, festering corpse, etc. 10 recollections: Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, virtue, generosity, deities, mindfulness of death, mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of breathing, and peace. 4 divine abidings: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. 4 immaterial states: the base of boundless space, the base of boundless consciousness, the base of nothingness, and the base of neither perception nor non-perception. 1 perception: repulsiveness in nutriment. 1 defining of the 4 elements. Under the guidance of an experienced teacher, one of these meditation subjects will be selected according to the student's temperament aptitude, and needs. So imagine you go to your teacher and you say, "Yes, I'm ready for your Samadhi lessons of today." And your teacher says, "I've chosen for you the 10 kinds of body decay." Yes, 10 kinds of foulness: bloated corpse, livid corpse, festering corpse, and best of all, etc. So I guess we're kind of lucky because none of the teachers I know have ever taught this to any of their students. Um, but I think mindfulness of death and dying is a very important practice. It is certainly for me. 45 people I know have died during the course of the pandemic. And one of them died last week and was a friend from high school. Somehow, whenever someone I know passes away, it just always reminds me that my delusion that I'm not going to die is somehow keeping me from living. That line from Mary Oliver's poem, I think it's in Wild Geese. What are you doing with your one perfect life? And so this week for my birthday on Thursday, I went to the New York Botanical Gardens to see the Kusama exhibit, which is of the Japanese woman who's I think in her 80s, artist, and she lived in New York in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. And it's very lighthearted and whimsical, which is the reason why I went, because I wanted to do something that was the total polar opposite of my daily life of being way too serious. And I went with my best friend from college. And I was sitting on a bench um, looking at this wonderful outdoor installation in the Enid Hof Conservatory. They have a water garden that has lots of water lilies in it. And it's my favorite place in the world, so I encourage you to go there and to see it if you can. And I started ranting about stuff that happened in the past week or two that I didn't like. And I caught myself mid-sentence in the midst of a rant. And I said, I am at my favorite place in the whole world, sitting next to one of my dearest friends. And I need to drop this right this second and be in this moment that I have longed for the last year and a half. Because this moment, in my favorite space with my dear friend, is the only moment that counts right now. And samadhi, the practice of samadhi, the practice of right concentration, right effort, right mindfulness, is as we practice that on our cushions, it's the one that gives us the ability to practice it in life with our boots on the ground. It's that practice that was able to give me that karate chop upside my head. Hey, it's the present moment. Come here. It's pretty good. You'll enjoy it if you can be in it. And that's the that's the beauty of this. In my interview with um, Leslie Booker, our teacher, um, I told her a funny story about me and horses, because we have all these assumptions, right? When you're a beginner, you assume that you're going to be able to just sit on your cushion and, oh, all of this wonderful, calming serenity is just going to magically appear. And it's pretty disillusioning when it doesn't. So when I was a little kid, when I was 4 or 5 years old, we would go to family camp with my aunt and uncle and my cousins, and sometimes my grandparents would go. And at this camp, they had little ponies, and you would get on the pony, and someone would lead the pony around a corral for you, and so you'd have this nice, happy pony ride. And somehow I thought that riding a horse would be like my childhood pony ride. So years later, it's like a really hot, broiling hot, in the 90s day in August outside of Boston, and some friends invite me to go horseback riding with them. And so there I am in my little delusion that it'll be like my 5-year-old pony ride. And I get on the horse, and I didn't know how to communicate well with the horse. And so the horse walked me into the center of a pond and kind of shrugged its shoulder and dumped me into the pond. Splash. And then about 15 years after that, I'm in Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, same kind of August hot, sweltering day. My friends invite me to go horseback riding. They pick the most docile horse who's pregnant. So she's not going to want to go too fast. And my friends take off in this rapid gallop across a field. And I figure my horse is just going to be like, yeah, I'm good. We can just hang out here. I'll hang with you here with joy. And no, she decides that she wants to go on the gallop. And I don't speak enough horse to say, dearest, we are not going after them. And so she takes off after them across the field. And then when she stops, she shrugs her shoulder and throws me. Yep, twice. Booker was falling off her chair with laughter. And so this is the humorous part that we can take, because just like me and the horse, we expect our cushion to be the same way. We expect when we sit on our cushion that it's not going to take us on a bumpy ride and dump us because we don't know anything about practice. And the thing is my cushion is just like the horse. I have to get on it frequently and learn how to take my seat on my cushion to practice. And it is only on repetitively, the thousands of times of returning to the present moment, returning to the breath, it is only in that practice of samadhi that I will gain any degree of ability to stay in the present moment with my breath, with the experience of the rain falling, of the birds chirping, of sitting next to my dear friend, being in my favorite place. Chris Germer says, by looking in, we learn the nature of things, and out of that arises wisdom. And one of my favorite teachers, Ruth King, says, wholeness is no trifling matter. So, and because I started and I wanted to make a point about death and dying, for my favorite We Croak app, We All Owe Death a Life by Salman Rushdie.